That wasn't like fun Adrian drinking. That was like, I'm fucking hurt right now, or like I'm in the dark place.
And I
like,
believe you. For the last couple of weeks, Daniela's mother's intuition has been really like, going off, her mommy spidey senses, so she's had this inkling of like something's off with Santiago. And something told me, and I genuinely believe this was like God speaking to me. I just, it's just my faith, my belief. I just feel like the Holy Spirit was just like, be vulnerable with him, have a conversation with him, and just try to gauge where he's at. I definitely would have put hands on him for this. As crazy as this sounds, like, I'm so impressed by your skills and your knowledge, but at the same time, I'm so afraid of what you're capable of.
And I just felt like it was just bullshit. It was unfair.
Dying from pancreatic cancer. By the way, I have other children.
Go over today.
Every day I'm struggling.
In current events, today's episode especially is gonna have real talk, and hopefully we can give some advice and provide a little bit of humor. And if you guys want to contact us directly, we encourage you guys to send us questions. We have a couple that I will go over today, not too many, but I do have a couple good questions that I think are going to be fun, specifically directed at Adrian. So I have a really funny one. You're gonna have to provide us some context.
You're in trouble.
I think it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
what'd I do?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
There's a question directed at me?
You'll find out.
Absolutely.
I just said that. Yeah, don't
Absolutely,
worry. Buckle up. You're gonna have to wait, just like the audience.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Yes. And to submit those questions, please send those to the You Don't Say That Podcast Instagram page. It's at You Don't Say That Podcast. And also on our YouTube, you can watch our videos on YouTube at the You Don't Say That Podcast. Our channel has been doing very well recently, and our shorts especially have been doing really well. So thank you guys to anyone who's been supporting, watching, liking our videos, commenting. Once we hit a certain milestone, I want to make it a point to kind of do a free giveaway of some sort to someone who likes, subscribes, and comments.
Let's get to 100 followers.
We're getting close.
And YouTube?
Yeah.
Subscribers?
Yeah.
Subscribers, yeah.
So I want to provide a little something.
Subscribers.
Maybe we can collaborate with Akaru Candle and maybe give away a little something if you have anything that we can do. I think that'd be super dope for someone to own. And
like a free ride.
A free ride.
Voucher. Lyft.
I did Lyft. I've been doing Lyft like a couple of days.
And
they could win a ride from you.
No.
Piggyback.
No. He just said no.
I'll give him a candle.
I'll get personal piggyback rides for Adrian.
Oh, yeah. You get a date with Adrian.
Right. And
only if you look like that one girl we talked about in the last episode that's sewing Lyft.
Demoss or whatever.
Oh, yeah. What's her name? Dank Moss?
Something like that.
She's suing Lyft?
Yeah, because she was too big for the car.
Nice.
She got denied a ride.
Yeah, she got denied her. You didn't see that clip? Lyft was like, Chale, you can't get in.
Chale, you can't get
Chale.
in.
Well, it wasn't Lyft. It was the driver.
Yeah, but
the driver said, like, got there and basically was like, nah, girl, you're too big. You're not going to sit in my car.
She was big.
And she was like, dude, I know I can fit in this car. And he's like, no, you need to order a different car.
Trust me, she did not.
No.
fit.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean.
What kind of car you had? A Fiat?
No.
It was like a little Focus.
Sedan.
No, it's like a Focus.
Yeah,
like
it was
regular.
It was like a basic
Normal
Uber.
car. She probably would have fit.
Yeah. I
Should've
mean,
been
as
tight,
somebody who
but-
has a family member that is very large, she would have fit.
For sure, yeah. It was just a funny story.
Yeah.
I also don't want to forget, if you guys cannot watch our videos on YouTube, but you can listen to them maybe in the car or at work. I know I definitely listen to
On Spotify.
a lot of podcasts. Check us out on Spotify. We're at You Don't Say That Podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. We're even on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio.
We'll keep you company in traffic.
I swear our show is probably on like 8 different platforms, Spotify and Apple being the biggest. So
Talk your shit,
I
Mikhail.
love to highlight that.
Talk the shit for us. There you
Dude,
go.
yeah, I mean, we're slowly doing okay.
Little
You
by
know what I
little,
mean?
baby
Like,
steps. Baby steps.
you know, there's definitely a lot to learn, and we're definitely having our own bumps and bruises. But
It's a learning curve.
It's huge.
It
So
is
when
a
we
lot
get
to
so
learn.
when we get to 100 subscribers,
Get a free ride
let's
from
go
Adrian.
ahead and do a giveaway.
we'll announce it in a video, and then from that video,
Yeah.
like, comment, subscribe.
Right. Unless we get 100 subscribers immediately, like
I
after
mean, who
this video.
knows? You know, who
Give
knows?
us a minute. Give us a minute to come up with the funds.
Who knows? You know, it'll be something. You know,
Yeah.
something small now, just because you know we want to have little realistic milestones and
Mm-hmm.
reward the people along the way that have been supporting.
It's
us.
like a reward.
Yeah, you know, for sticking with us. So stay tuned for that. It should be coming really soon. You know, our episodes are bi-weekly. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the next episode or two we will be announcing, you know, a giveaway.
Let's do it.
So stay tuned for that. So thank you guys. And let me just start off by letting everyone know here at the table, I'm so happy I have another podcast to just vent with you guys today. I got a lot of shit that I have to just I need people to talk through this stuff, and this is there's no better, I want to say platform, but this is an intentional conversation about ourselves, you know, and
Yeah.
what better time and place to do it than with you guys, the people I trust. And
Yeah, it's
When
been crazy week.
when I get to it, please open and honest with me. Let me know what you guys think, and I definitely value that very much.
Yes.
Before I forget where I left off, how did you guys like doing the boys pod? And I don't know.
I heard it was a good show.
Yeah, because
Really?
you
I
can
heard
only
it was a good
hear
time.
about it since
Well,
you
I
don't
could've
remember
swore you were
much of
there.
it.
What
I heard
happened?
it was a good time.
Yeah. Our friend Adrian over here had a little too much fun.
Yeah, he
Is that a fair way to put it?
He got real saucy.
Little saucy. Did he look that bad?
He
I was
definitely got
sitting
lost in the
next to him,
sauce.
so I
Yeah.
couldn't see him.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
still, a thing, but you definitely got lost in something.
Yeah.
You had a
No,
good
it was
angle to
bad.
kind of see him.
You crossed a couple of thresholds there on the inebriation
I look
levels.
like Shane Gillis.
Because Shane Gillis was funny
Yeah.
when he's drunk. You were just saying some outlandish stuff
You say a lot of crazy
that my man over here had to, work extra hard this week to edit out.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
And- but the thing is, you had Tourette's. You had an episode of Tourette's because you were just yelling out random stuff, and people would tell you, "Hey, shut up, man! Stop, sit back." I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
F this and F that. I don't care.
He did. He did.
And
it was
you were
so
just
funny.
saying
It was
just
funny.
random things. It looked like you had Tourette's.
That's funny.
You had
Yeah.
drunken Tourette's.
Well, overall,
but we still love you.
obviously.
It was
But overall,
an episode.
Going over the episode and editing, I thought we had a lot of good stuff that we went over in there. As you guys will see, I don't want to give up too much, but we definitely talk about a lot of, I don't know, just life stuff. It was just a whole lot of life, adulting.
Yeah.
You know what's
being-
crazy is that when you were trying to get me to do shots, that could have only been like 8:00, and you were already blacked out.
Yeah.
Because I went and laid down in bed at like 7:45 and was like, I'm just gonna watch a movie
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was in there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours before I fell asleep. And
Yeah, I mean,
you were hammered.
It's a learning curve.
It was
It's definitely-
exciting.
It's not my
A
best
learning
moment.
curve. What do you mean?
it was very exciting.
It wasn't just the excitement. Like I was happy because like Rick's in town.
Exactly,
Cakes
yeah.
is here. Like
Exactly.
it was
Fun.
a celebration, but it was also like it took me back when I would drink because I'm stressed, or drink because I'm trying to like get away from something, or like
Were
It
you trying
wasn't-
to cope with
it
something
was-
last week?
I think I don't know if it was just maybe cope, but I've just been so stressed and like dealing with a lot that was the like I haven't drank since, and I don't think I'm drinking it for a while, but like it was that.
You want a shot?
Did you catch an STD later? Or?
No. I've never been. I don't think I've never
Or a
had
UTI?
No, I never caught a UTI either. But that's more of what it was. Like I think too, because every 2 weeks we're recording.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks I'm drinking.
Sure.
And like I feel like as the last couple of pods have gone, I've probably kind of drank a little bit more.
Sure.
Said some stupid shit that I don't want to. That I'm.
You actually hadn't said a lot up until that point, so
right. But we ended up going out. Or like it's like every 2 weeks I'm doing something.
Sure.
Which is kind of like out of the norm for me because I wasn't really going out, wasn't doing anything, wasn't really drinking.
Yeah.
And then just with like everything that's been going on, it's like, oh shit. Like I think that's what it was. Gotcha. Like that episode or the next day is like why I went back to therapy on Wednesday. Like I had a heart to heart with Cakes like on, was it Monday or Tuesday? When did I call you?
Tuesday night? Monday night.
Well, what was it?
Monday
you were just
night.
upset that you were drinking a lot, or
I just don't like that person that I become. And I didn't realize I drank that much Hennessy. Like dark liquor does that to me.
Right.
Like I turn to a different person.
Right.
Like even like that blanking out and like saying shit, I lose control of who I am. And like I don't think that I'm an alcoholic. I do think that I've struggled with alcohol in the past, and I think that
that's exactly what an alcoholic would say.
Right.
I mean, I never like woke up and drank. I never.
You don't have to wake up and drink to be an alcoholic.
Yeah,
I was a high functioning alcoholic, son.
Yeah.
I went to work Monday through Friday, took care of my responsibilities, but I could literally not control myself when I drink.
Yeah.
Because one drink would turn into 6 within like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, it was more like a relapse for me. I guess if that means I was an alcoholic, but because I've been able to drink a couple of times, have a drink or two, it's normal, and then go home, maybe not drink. But that night was like, I was drinking till like
a little too far.
Oh, I took it way too far. I felt like an asshole after. So
not
my best moment. So
it's all learning.
I mean, luckily you were with us. You know, you really didn't offend anybody. And it wasn't like you had to you had to make several phone calls the following morning apologizing for what you said or or offending people. I wish you wouldn't have done what you did after the pod.
Right. Same.
That's about the only thing I wish, because everything you said amongst us, not a big deal. But the fact that it was basically recorded, and obviously, like I said, you were just creating more work for Mikhail over here to
the work is it's not
edit out.
I just like to poke at you a little bit.
It's not bad. It wasn't bad. It was just, again, I wish you would have done what you did after the pod, but it is what it is. By God's grace, I feel like you're here, you're safe, everything's good.
Yeah.
But
I think
man, you're just coping. You're just coping with something.
You're in good company in the way of like people not necessarily judging or like, I've gone through periods where I don't drink, like no judgment here, if you got to take a break, you got to take a break. And I, at this point, really just hate being hungover. Yeah. And that's like, and I get hungover so easy that it's like not even worth it to drink that much.
I mean, the hangover sucks, but it's just a feeling. Like I feel so low.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like,
because
I was that
alcohol
guy
is
for
a
so many
depressant,
years.
right?
Yeah.
Alcohol is a depressant. You're actually like creating anxiety. Most people think that you're like releasing anxiety when you're drinking, but it's actually raising,
it's making it worse.
Yeah, it's raising your cortisol levels. So I mean, alcohol is essentially ethanol. You're literally drinking gasoline. You know what I mean?
I drank a lot of gasoline.
You were really gassed up that night.
Yeah, and I thought the next day Yankee. I thought I only had that
gasolina.
I thought I only had that one cup. I didn't know that I was drinking.
Yeah, the next day, that Monday he was like, I can't believe 1 cup of Hulk, man. And
in my mind, I had 3 Coors Light and a
killed the bottle.
Yeah, that shit's in my cabinet still.
You had like it's 3 cups.
Yeah, there's only like a quarter of each bottle left.
And not only that, but you were mixing it with IPAs.
Yeah, see.
It was like on your second IPA, we were like, Sal pointed it out. He was like, oh, there you go. This guy, it's a second IPA.
But and
he's mixing it.
That wasn't like fun Adrian drinking. That was like, I'm fucking hurt right now, or like I'm in the dark place.
And I believe you, because I feel like once you got to that moment, that like, I feel like that, for lack of better words, that shameless moment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You became vulnerable.
That's another good show.
You became vulnerable, and you shared with us how you feel about us and how grateful you are for all of us.
Yeah.
So it was a moment, and I feel like it's something that you've been wanting to share and you've been wanting to say to us, but Sober Agent was
like lubricate the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't need lubricates.
No, he
Never
spit.
need lubricates.
Spit.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Nah, I think it's something maybe you've been wanting to share, but Sober Agent's like, nah, I'm not. Like, you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to show
definitely don't
emotion
like
that.
I don't like being vulnerable with women. I don't have like I don't want to be vulnerable with my friends. Like, if I'm dating, I don't want to be vulnerable. Like, it takes a lot to like get me to open up. But like with you guys, I feel like you guys are my brothers. Like, I don't know. I think I'm open to like you guys. So
Yeah. No, and obviously, we are like some of the closest people to you.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's good that if there's anybody you feel comfortable and you want to be vulnerable with, it would be us. But it goes back to what I told you earlier. I don't think you allow yourself to be loved and for you to like just release and be vulnerable with other people.
Yeah.
When they're showing you like love, support, and affection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of your biggest struggles.
Yeah.
When it comes to dating, is just being vulnerable with someone else, just letting your guard down. And I get it. You don't want to get hurt. Completely understand. But without doing that, you're never going to find out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, just my 2 cents, my point.
I've made a couple shots, a couple threes.
Yeah.
Made a couple threes.
Or a couple free throws.
Hey, points are points.
A point is a point.
I hit up Rick and I hit up Cakes, and I told him, how awesome I thought they were on the show. Just kind of coming in, and it was at that one at Cakes the second episode and Rick's first, and I really enjoyed listening to their segments. And
Rick got pretty vulnerable. That was different for Rick to open up like that. I remember that part.
No, yeah, and I felt like we were all like totally engaged in that and totally like in that moment. And I, as an editor, and I worry about how the show will come out and how it'll look in front of other people. I really enjoyed the way that came out as a whole.
That's good, because I feel like we derailed so much.
We did
off the topics that we were discussing.
We did.
I feel like the whole night was just derailing off every topic we'd bring up.
Yeah,
but it was cool.
I
hope we were able to segue into like other topics and everything.
There were really good pockets in there that I felt were like meaningful, and then obviously like the chaos of guys being around their friends. So I hope everyone enjoys it who watches it. We'll do it every so often, just because there's so many of us. It's hard to get a schedule that's works for everybody. But
we gotta get Richie back. We gotta get Richie back.
Are you keeping the name that?
For now, we'll tentatively keep the name unless we all decide we want to.
Because that was another thing. We derailed on me explaining where the Mira Wacha came from.
Oh, okay.
I just literally gave the literal definition of Mira and Wacha. Wacha being slang for watch, in Spanish. It's a Spanglish slang word, but it was definitely a day we went to go play basketball, and you had kicked me, and I had said, "Who kicks nowadays?" And then I did my little version of a roundhouse kick and kicked you, and I was like, "Mira Wacha."
Yeah.
That's where Mira Wacha came from.
Yeah, we kept saying it just forever. So I mean, for now we're gonna roll with it. But we're for sure gonna be having an irregular schedule for a guys pod.
Yeah, it was cool. It was needed.
Yeah, and we'll fine tune little things on.
I won't drink it the next time.
How we go about it, but overall, I had a great time doing it. I think
Sal enjoyed the smelling salt a little too much.
Yes, yeah. There was a.
You need to wake up. It's right there.
There's a segment.
That shit fucked me out. My nostrils still hurt from that. That shit hurt.
That was an experience.
That hurted.
That was a great experience.
That was not fun. I'm not doing that again.
I had a lot of fun. I definitely did not enjoy the smelling salt.
It's right there.
Yeah,
I'll do it if you do it.
It's that little
call me a bitch.
bronze bottle.
Tell me I won't do it.
Talk dirty to me really quick.
Tell me I won't do it.
That's how we used to get each other to drink.
Right.
At Labella's.
Yeah, tell me I won't drink the pitcher.
call me a bitch out, and I'll buy another picture.
You're begging to be.
Last Sunday, I'm gonna share because I know she's not gonna mind sharing. Sorry, babe. But Daniela got dragged by this dog.
Oh no!
And it got captured by the Ring camera.
Fuck yeah. Can we answer that video here, please?
You're gonna have to reach out to her. If she wants to share the video, by all means. It's funny because she even laughs at it. But it was last Sunday. It was late at night. It was like 10:30 at night.
Oh my god.
With that dog, like the instructions were you shouldn't have to take him out more than twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. That's about it. He's kennel trained and everything. If you're out the house, put him in the kennel overnight, put him in the kennel, you're good. So she took him out before we went to bed. What did we do last Sunday? I can't remember what we did last Sunday, but I know we got home late. I was upstairs changing, getting ready for bed. All I hear is the little Ring door camera chime go off.
Yeah.
And I hear whoop, and dogs start barking and like all this commotion outside, and I'm like, what the heck? And I come downstairs after I'm done changing, and she's like, Coda just dragged me. I was like, what happened? She's like, well, I took him out to use the restroom before we, went up to bed, and it was 10:30 at night. I didn't think anybody was going to be out walking their dog, but some neighbor was walking her little 2 chihuahuas.
Oh my god.
And I didn't pay attention. So as I'm closing the door, right, this dog runs after those chihuahuas and just pulls me and just drags me. Luckily, she fell on the dirt next to the cement walkway, and because of the rains we got the previous week, it was like muddy dirt, so it definitely softened up her blow. Yeah, but bro, you can see the imprint of like when her knee hit the mud and slid, it looks something out of like a Dragon Ball Z episode when they get hit and then they hit the ground and all that dirt comes up. It was
so Daniela went Super Saiyan.
Dude, she must know. Coda went Super Saiyan and dragged Daniela. But bro, she's like, oh, let me see if the Ring camera captured it, and it captured it beautifully.
That's hilarious.
And she downloaded that clip.
Yeah,
so she has that. That was
that's so funny.
Daniela, don't be
so
selfish.
that was the highlight of having this dog. Other than that, though, he's a big crybaby. He's 8 years old, but he whines and cries and just seeks so much attention. It's gotten really annoying. But
how long have you had him now? It's been a while, no?
He said 10 days.
It's gonna be. It would be 2 weeks this Tuesday. Yeah. This upcoming Tuesday. Basically, getting picked up tomorrow at noon. Oh, okay. So we have him shy of 2 weeks. Oh. And so that's gonna be that. But we've had Coda.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess I'll share my week then. Since I've already talked about Coda, we've been dog sitting this husky. That was a highlight of having Coda. Yeah. This past week was a long week. It was a long week. I took a mental day on Monday, from work. I had shared with Adrian before that work has gotten really overwhelming. In the last episode I was here, I shared with you guys I had gotten that promotion and everything. Mm-hmm. So the role that I'm in, my two main tasks is maintenance and operations for property management, and the maintenance part has been maintaining. Son of a bitch. It takes up about 3/4 of my time. It's just a lot going on. Plus, with all the rains and everything we've been getting, I was telling Mikhail earlier, the rain season is probably one of my favorite seasons. You get to be inside, just listening to the rain and everything, but you're inside warm and dry, so you enjoy it. Not when you're in property management. Not when you're in property
so
management.
That's when all the problems start highlighting.
Yeah,
all
I'd
these
imagine.
work orders or maintenance requests for leaks and everything. So it becomes a headache, and trying to prioritize everything. And you only have so many maintenance technicians, and you only have so many hours in a day. So like prioritizing what's more urgent than others. And of course, anytime there's water intrudes into a home, like bless you, you have to think of the aftermath, right? Of like, if it doesn't get addressed right away, mold can start, forming, and mildew, and then mold and whatnot. But obviously everything has to get addressed. So yeah, it just, prioritizing all the maintenance requests and make sure everything's taken care of correctly, in a timely manner. But all that was just getting to me. It had been 3 weeks in a row of just, hard weeks. Not just maintenance, but operations, dealing with like property owners, clients, and then tenants BS too. So like the third week I was just like, wow. I send monthly statements to the property owners for their properties. It gives them all the breakdowns of the income and the expenses for the property for that month. And it's several days out of the month, right? I have certain property schedules on certain days. And so I was sending out owner statements at the end of the day on Monday. We were supposed to meet up with you and Rick at Labella's because he was in town. So I had dinner plans and everything, but I don't know. I feel like, and in all fairness too, I feel like a lot of the stress I was feeling was self-inflicted. And it was just the way I am. I take a lot of pride in what I do and the quality of work I put out. So I was trying to get everything done, especially because the last 2 days of the previous week, my assistant property manager was, on PTO. So I had to do like extra work. Some of the stuff was doing accounting. So I was, I had to cut checks for vendors and whatnot. And, stuff them in envelopes, get that all ready. The last straw where I was like, yeah, I'm taking a mental day for sure, was leaving work after 7 o'clock, running late for the dinner plans we had with you guys. And it raining, it was pouring. I had the envelopes and everything. I tucked them in my jacket. I didn't park far from the office. I parked right in front. So walking up to the office, opening up the passenger side door to put all the stuff in there because I had like my hydro flask. I had like the envelopes, a couple of owner packets because some of the owners wanted like hard copies. They don't want to just mail to them. So I had all that. And then opening the passenger side door and about to just throw everything on the passenger seat. Bang. All the envelopes fall. Damn. All the envelopes fall. It's pouring. I had a big stream of water off the sidewalk that took some of the envelopes. And just me chasing them down the street, grabbing them, and oh man! Yeah. After that, I was like, you know what? This is a sign from God. This is a sign from God. I need a break. Yeah. I need a break. So,
you're willing to do that. That's good.
I took a break, and honestly, I don't think I've ever taken like a mental day. Right, Yeah. And even when I called in, I didn't tell them I was sick. I just told them I wasn't doing well. I said, hey, I'm not doing well right now. I'm not going to come in. I'll see you guys tomorrow. They're like, all right, cool. Sorry, I hope you get plenty of rest. Hope you feel better. And even the next day at work, everyone was like, oh, how you feeling? I hope you're feeling better. And I'm like, I'm all right. Like, yeah, I'm all right. And they kind of got the hint like, oh, you're not sick, but okay, you're doing better. All right, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, either way, we're glad you're back, And I was all right. And that was Monday. So Monday it was, just a chill day. Took the day off. Still ran errands like with Daniela. And I took her to urgent care because her pinky was hurting because of Coda dragging her. She was holding onto the leash and it pulled her. Yeah. Like she felt like it might have been, I don't know. She said it was hurting a lot, so it might have been broken, but it wasn't because it wasn't bruised. It wasn't like it was swollen, but it wasn't bruised up or anything. So, after breakfast Monday morning, and it worked out because I had already. The thing is, I had already scheduled PTO for Monday morning because my son was receiving an award at school for math. So that was already scheduled. So, it was kind of easier just to take the whole day. But after the awards, we went to go grab breakfast. After that, I'm like, hey, let's get that finger checked out because, why not?
Might as well.
Can't really put a price on peace of mind. Let's go ahead. And I was like, even if it takes an hour or two, urgent care, let's go. But the thing is, she has Kaiser now. So Kaiser and urgent care, the only one in the area is the one off Palm over there. And bro, was Kaiser depressing.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really?
Bro, we got there. First of all, I don't know. They have like a new, like, they're trying to conserve energy and they have like a dark policy, but it's dark.
No lights on.
It is dark. They have just very minimal lighting.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, wow. And so, like, she checks in. She registers up at the counter. She checks in. She's going through all that whole process. And, at the end, they tell her, it's going to be about 2.5 hour wait. I'm like, oh, wow. And so she goes to, she gets a little referral, whatever, to go to imaging to try to get an x-ray on her finger. Yeah, at long story short, we didn't stay. Right, we're like, it's not bruised up. It's not like an obvious sign that it's broken. Maybe take some ibuprofen and let's go home.
Yeah.
So we went home.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm trying to take the day to rest.
Yeah.
Not sit in the urgent care. I don't know if I want
to sit in urgent care for 2 to 3 hours. So, I was like, let's go home. So, just went home and, then took my son to practice, his flag football practice in the evening. And Tuesday, Wednesday was cool. Thursday, I had, scheduled the whole day off because we had parent-teacher, the SLC meetings at school with the kids. And since all 3 kids go to the same school, it was, 3
Easy.
meetings. So I had already scheduled the whole day off too. And then luckily it worked out because Marilena, my oldest daughter, got an award for math as well. And we found out at the end of the previous week. So it all worked out. Did that. More importantly,
rewind.
I kind of, got a little ahead of myself. Whew. All right.
This is the good stuff.
So this is the good stuff. This has been the biggest part of this past week. So you guys will see this on the podcast with all the guys. But there is a segment of that podcast where everyone just starts complimenting and praising my son, Santiago. And it started with you, right? And everyone just kind of piggybacked off what you were saying and agreed and, added their 2 cents.
Love that boy.
He is a great kid. He's very smart.
You guys both have great kids, and they're about the same age.
He has a big heart. He has really genuine feelings. He's a kind kid.
Incredibly smart.
Yeah,
Too smart.
Too smart, right?
Too smart for his own good.
One would say.
Here's the reason why. So, for the last couple of weeks, Daniela's mother's intuition has been really going off. Her mommy's spidey senses. So she's had this inkling of like something's off with Santiago. And something has been slightly off. I haven't paid too much attention to it because I'm like, he's a teenage boy. He's 14. Like he's gonna. The unusual behavior that I did notice was that he was trying to take walks around the complex. So we live in a townhome
By himself,
and it's a complex. Yeah, it's not really a gated community, but it's a little complex, right? And he has been asking like, hey, can I go out and just walk around? The heck? When have you ever asked to go walk around, bro? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, just go walk around. And Daniela's like, what are you doing? So obviously Daniela's assumption right away is that he wants to go out and smoke weed.
Right.
Like a vape pen or whatever and smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was this close. I'm gonna pat you down then and see what you got. But no, I didn't. I was just like, all right. My assumption was that maybe he wanted to talk to a girl. And we have a no closed door policy at our house. So although he has his own bedroom, he has his own space, we don't allow him to hang out in there with the door closed. So I'm like, maybe he wants to get on the phone with the girl and talk. And obviously, since he can't close his door, He wants, a little bit more privacy. I get it. Whatever. Do your thing, dude. Thinking it was that. Well, this had been going on for a couple of weeks, and Tuesday, and something told me, and I genuinely believe this was like God speaking to me. I just, it's just my faith, my belief. I just feel like the Holy Spirit was just like, be vulnerable with him, have a conversation with him, and just try to gauge where he's at. So then ultimately you can put mom's mind at ease, right? Well, that didn't happen. Well, I did become vulnerable with him. I did,
I went crazy.
I did. I did have a sit down with him. And this was literally just something that came to me. I wasn't thinking about it at work. I wasn't thinking about it on my way home from work. I just got home, and I'm like, he has his own little game set up in the corner of his room and everything. Has his bed next to it. So I sat down on the edge of his bed, and I just decided to open up to him. I decided to open up, and I said, hey. Mom's been feeling like something's off with you. I don't know if you've got something serious going on, but I just want to let you know, like, I feel for you only because when I was your age, I wasn't walking with God. We're in the faith now. We're Christians. He got baptized last September. Like he's a student leader in the youth ministry at church. We assumed he was on a good path, right? And I told him, bro, I can't imagine the pressure you may be feeling because at your age, and like I said, I just opened up to him. I became vulnerable. I shared with him the things I was doing at his age, where my mindset was. And I was like, and I didn't have the pressure of like, hey, you have to be good because you're a Christian, or you have to lead by example. You have to, mimic Jesus, because we do that every day. We try, right? And I'm like, so I can't imagine the pressure you may be feeling. You good? You good? You have anything like you want to share? I don't know if it's something you don't want to share with mom because you might be too embarrassed to share with mom, but just so you know, you can share with me. And I promise you, no judgment.
I want to say, like, good job on like how you approached him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, if you had gone in there blazing guns,
there's
like
such a thin line.
You could have got nothing
of pushing
like,
too far.
Yeah. But also like the amount of growth for you as a person.
Oh yeah.
Like you a year ago, if this had happened a year ago, like it would have been a totally different situation, right? Like
I definitely would have put hands on him for this. I would have put the paws on him so good.
Oh, okay.
So
because I think that's warranted. You know what I mean? Continue with your story.
I'm like, all right. So internally, I was just like, all right, keep her cool. Because I know he's lying to me. It's obvious that he's lying to me. And I'm just like, all right, keep your cool. If you keep your cool and you try to be reasonable with him, he might just come clean. And so it took a couple of days to get the full truth out of him. I was sharing with Mikhail earlier, like my initial feeling. First, I went through like a whole grieving process because I felt like part of our relationship had died because of all the trust. Yeah, exactly. So I went through like I felt heartbroken initially because I'm like, bro, like. We're trying to teach you the right way. Like we're trying to raise you up in this faith, right? Did
you have that I'm not mad, I'm disappointed conversation?
Pretty much. But the next day I was mad. That was part of my grieving process, and I didn't want to choke.
Well, I mean, there's many stages of grieving. I want to do the
whole Homer Bart Simpson, thing. Yeah. Choke him and just, be like, what the heck is wrong with you? What were you thinking? So, like I said, I went through my stages of grieving. I was heartbroken on Tuesday. I was mad on Wednesday. I want to just, put my hands on him. And then I was disgusted by him on Thursday. We have midweek youth services. And we all serve as a family. And I just didn't want to be around him. Like I didn't want to look at him. There's a couple of times where he came up to me trying to like spark up a conversation, and I just walk away from him because I just couldn't. I looked at him and I get this feeling of like, who are you? Like, I don't know you, dude. Like, and it's as crazy as this sounds, like, I'm so impressed by your skills and your knowledge, but at the same time, I'm so afraid of what you're capable of. And the fact that you were doing this, it had been in the works for a couple of months, and yet you're serving every Sunday. You're a youth leader. You're getting straight A's. You're playing sports. Like, you're this great role model of a kid, you know. And I told him, I was like, we had a whole segment in the podcast we recorded where everybody complimented you, man. Everybody was praising you, how great of a kid you are. And now what? Now what? Like,
that's crazy.
And I told him, I was like, there is no greater pleasure as a parent. There is no greater, there is no bigger proud moment in a parent's life than when like someone's telling you like you have an amazing kid. Yeah. You're doing a great job as a parent. Keep it up. He's awesome. Right. Yeah. I got that. I've been getting that. Everyone says the same thing about you everywhere we go. And now what, man? And the crazy thing is too, on Thursday we had his parent teacher conference and his SLC, which is a student led conference, right? So he gave us this whole little PowerPoint presentation of what they've been learning this semester and everything. And his English teacher was like, he's such a great kid. He's just an absolute pleasure to have in class. And the whole time in my head, I'm like, if only you knew how wrong you are, right? Because I was still hurt. That was a day like I felt disgust, like I couldn't look at him. And so yeah, that I think that made this past week feel so long.
The cherry on top.
Because we've been dealing with that, and
that's crazy. You did awesome. You know, you did everything. Like, you didn't lose your shit. You fucking held your emotions in check.
Very, very proud of you to the way you handled that.
Thought, you know, you thought about, you know, the repercussions down the line. You took his feelings into consideration. Like, I think, you know, you did an amazing job when it comes to that, you know?
And one thing I was doing that I didn't realize, but I was just kind of dealing with my emotions. And one of the other, like the youth pastor and one of the other youth leaders, he has a family of his own and he's a dad too and everything. He told me, he said, hey, whatever punishment you decide for Santiago, let that be it. Don't treat him any differently because that's his punishment. And you should just leave it at that. You shouldn't, because
he knows what he did.
Yeah, because like, I think I don't know if Daniela shared with him like at the end of midweek service for the youth on Thursday.
Oh, I meant like Santiago knows what he did.
No, he knows what he did. But I also I didn't realize this until he kind of spoke, like he had a conversation with me. Friday after work, I was talking to him on my way home from work, and he said, whatever punishment you decide, let that be it. Remind him that this situation doesn't make you love him any less. Just remind him that he is still loved by you. You don't love him any less because of this. He just made a mistake. He has to pay the consequences of his mistake. And then, just try to rebuild trust from here on, from here and moving forward. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, because honestly, I shared with him, I was like, I couldn't stand him yesterday. I felt like I couldn't even be in the same room with him. And then Friday, we had a sit down with like the youth pastor, Santiago, his mom, and myself. And then one of the things that Daniela really tried to instill in him in that conversation was that this situation doesn't define him. Good. Regardless of what the outcome is, this situation doesn't define him. He definitely has the opportunity to redeem himself, and obviously that he's not loved any less because of this. Yeah. So I hope and I pray that we can just rebuild trust from here on out. And
crazy.
he gets to a point where he can earn all his stuff back.
That's parenting. Yeah, don't be afraid to dig in phones. Yeah. Watch what are they watching?
Their browser.
Right, so that's like another conversation. Like, how old was Santiago when he had his cell phone?
10.
How old was Julian when he first had his cell phone?
12.
12?
11, 12.
And he was actually
after elementary.
He was actually 9.5 because this was during the pandemic in 2020. So he was gonna turn 10 in December of that year, but him being at home, and honestly, this kid had earned so much trust from us. He had so much liberty because he had earned it. This wasn't just like us being lazy parents and being like, all right, cool, go to your room, get out of our hair. No, like we have this no closed door policy, right, for a reason, because we thought that was one way, right, of monitoring their actions or their activity. But we weren't like popping in our heads in the room and be like, what are you watching? What are you doing? I do that from time to time, trying to catch him watch, inappropriate things. Because I'm like, I know where his head's at. I was there. The only difference was mine was physical magazines and his is, on a little screen.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that Nike Bucks. I remember that Nike Bucks.
Wow.
And so yeah, so like he had our trust, like so much so where like even I started trusting him more. Mom has always given him the benefit of the doubt. Mom has always been, in my head, quote unquote, soft on him, right? So I feel like I've always been the harder one on him, the one that's trusted him less, and that hasn't given him the benefit of the doubt. I'd question everything he was doing all the time. But it had gone to the point because I saw, what everybody else was seeing in him, and I started like, believing it and, letting my guard down with him and trusting him more. And then boom, he used that trust and that liberty to make the wrong choices.
Well, shit. All right. Well, I guess this is a good time to cut into what I got for the week. And boy, has it been a long week. I don't know what's the best way to go into it.
So what was it? Tuesday or Monday morning? Tuesday morning. I wake up and I have text messages from his brother.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the text message says, the text message says, hey, I don't know if Mikhail talked to you about this, but it looks like our dad doesn't have. Okay. So he says I don't know if Mikhail has talked to you about this, but XYZ sends me some screenshots.
XYZ? What do you mean?
Because I want you to like.
Well, you're already in it. Just say it.
Just say it, dude.
Yeah,
just say it.
You're
so
doing
Chris's chat says, I don't know if Mikhail saw my message, but wanted him to see because it looks like our dad doesn't have much time left from pancreatic cancer. He randomly got a text from their dad's wife.
So she knows now.
And so the message from the wife is the screenshot that he sent that he sent to me and to him. And the screenshot says, hello, Chris, this is Alice's wife. I wanted you to know that he hasn't forgotten about you and your brother. He has told me and his kids about you. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last year and may not have much time left. I just wanted you to know you are not forgotten. And Chris responds to her, hi, Alice. I want to thank you for directly telling me this since I had a feeling something was off. But I'm glad he could finally unload that to his strength and support system. I was at a point where I was going to come to you guys, letting you in on what he has told me since he had been bearing the secret so long, and I didn't know if he knew how to tell you. Do you have an actual time frame given? Because I would want to see him soon. So I wake up to that, 5:30 in the morning, and all I respond to Chris is, "Oh wow, I'll talk to him," to Mikhail, because I wasn't sure what he was expecting to get from me out of it. It's not really my situation. I'm gonna support him, Mikhail, in whatever he's feeling, whatever he wants to do in this situation.
Yeah.
So I text him and I'm like, "Hey, Chris sent me this message, just want to let you know if you want to talk to me about it. Here I am, And he's like, "I'm fine, just
I'll pick it up, I guess, from there.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for you when you're sitting right.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, that was the introduction to that kind of news. And
did you know about it before Lindsay told you? Did Chris tell you?
I got the message from Chris.
Okay.
And by the time that he had gotten home to me after work, he had already responded and talked to Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I got that message, I kind of didn't even know what to say. I guess realizing that his wife reached out to Chris, revealed that, he had told someone. And I don't know, my initial emotions was just this is bullshit. All of it's bullshit. The way that he told everybody is bullshit. The fact that he waited until he was dying to tell someone about, I don't know what his biggest secrets are. I would imagine we're one of them. And
yeah, I think that 2 human beings is a pretty big fucking secret.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. So to me, the fact that you're about to die, to my understanding, he has a few weeks to a few months left. He's about to get put in the hospice as we speak.
So it was stage 4 pancreatic cancer, I'm assuming.
Apparently, he looks really bad. And I just felt like it was just bullshit. It was unfair. It's unfair that he unloaded all that on his family while he was also announcing that he has cancer. Come to find out, he made his rounds to let all of his family members know, not only am I dying, but I'm also
confessing.
Confessing to this. And, on the bright side, the reception, we were, at least what Chris has relayed to me, was that everyone wasn't, nobody was upset or, they were pretty, I don't know if excited is the thing, but, that was
welcoming.
Good. It was welcome news.
They've all been very welcoming.
But the thing that upsets me is you did that. How is it? Of course, that's going to be good news. You're telling people you're about to die. So you're dying. You're going around. You're telling people that you don't have much time to live. You're giving people this heartbreaking news. In the same time, you're giving people this oh well. Also, by the way, I also have this. What do you expect to happen? People, nobody's going to hold you accountable for anything because they know you're going to die. And to me, that's a whole summary of this whole experience, I guess, is there's
and then
no
to expect them to ask them to come and see him while
not even get there yet. And so the whole experience to me has been summed up as one big unaccountable person. He loses contact with his kids, and this is something that's still developing. I actually have details I can add to that as of today. But before I get into that, he loses contact with his kids, so he pretty much disappears. He no longer tries to keep in contact, even if the mother of your children tell you can't see the kids. Is not a valid excuse for you to still not try to see your kids.
Yeah, no, it's not.
So that, boom, unaccountable. Boom, wipe your hands clean. You didn't have to do that. And then you get in contact with one of the
And let's
children.
be clear, this isn't it's not like Mikhail is the product of a one-night stand. Mikhail's dad was around long enough to make 2 children.
Sure, me and my brother.
So he not only does he know Mikhail exists,
and he knows are a couple years apart too, right?
3 whole years apart.
Yeah.
So
he was around.
No, yeah, he was
so
around.
I mean, it's not like he can say, "Well, I didn't know about you guys," or and Mikhail has a one person name. There's only one person named Mikhail Farias.
Sure.
Period.
Easy to find.
Yeah. So anywho,
I know
continue.
Mikhail, but yeah.
So my little brother reaches out to him for whatever reason. He has always felt compelled to reach out to this man. Mm-hmm. He
became a father himself and felt like he needed to then reach out to his own father, in his growth as a father, and that's understandable. I can understand, people have a desire to understand where they're coming from, right? But Mikhail never had that desire.
Sure. Yeah. He, for whatever reason, was always always a deep desire of his to get to know who that person was. Whereas for me, maybe because I, was the oldest and kind of got settled into like independence a lot younger, I kind of came to that understanding that there wasn't anyone that was ever going to come, quote unquote, save you from that fatherless life. I just got comfortable with the fact that just wasn't in the cards for me, Yeah. And for healthy or unhealthy reasons, I became okay with that, And that want or yearn just kind of died and calloused over, and I could have gone my whole life and been totally fine with never meeting him or seeing him, and that would have been totally okay for me. So you
never felt like you were missing.
No, which I made clear on other episodes. But to hear this, where I'm at with it, other than the fact that I think this is bullshit, I'm weirdly okay. I feel bad for my little brother. My little brother is very upset about all this, which upsets me. But and then the layers of upset with that, like I don't get why he's upset about it. Like I equate it to someone who maybe dumps their dog out of their car to try to ditch it, and you're chasing behind. The dog is chasing the car. They're trying to get rid of you. They don't want you. Yet you're trying to be into something.
That's like the saddest analogy
trying to plug
ever.
yourself into somewhere where
that's my equivalent to it, and I these past few days I've been very candid and honest with my brother, and kind of told him, like, you're totally just giving him an out. The fact that you are so
but I mean, really, it's almost like the death of a stranger. You don't know this person, so like,
for me,
yeah, how is it going? Like, when he dies, nothing's going to change for you.
No. Well, no.
Right. Like, so that's like, why get involved now when he has a couple weeks to live? Why invest the emotion into going to meet this guy, go sit at his deathbed? That's crazy. That's wild to me.
So I tried to have my brother see why I felt that way, and because he seemed very surprised that I wasn't very
receptive,
upset about the whole.
Yeah, upset. It didn't bother me the same way it bothered him, and I gave him my perspective just on life in general. Like I told him, like I got pretty independent from a very young age. You know what I mean? Like for whatever reason, like I got comfortable like that, and to this day I'm okay with that. I don't necessarily find myself missing out on a dad or anything like that, but it does kind of upset me to an extent to see you chase after someone who doesn't want you. We met this person, and I was very open to, like, hey, I want you around, or I'd be very open for you to be around after this dinner. This went great. You're an awesome guy. but the ball is totally in your court if you want to continue to be in my life. And what happened? I never saw him again. I haven't seen him since.
You definitely threw him a lifeline and he didn't take it.
Yeah.
Disappointing, right? And for me, like, cool. I get it. I didn't have my hopes up that high. Yeah.
I think what I'm getting from what you're saying is you're upset that
Chris is upset.
You're upset that Chris is upset, but you're also upset that he doesn't see it the way you do. Maybe Chris had a lot of hope into one day being able to have an open relationship with his biological father and his other family, you know?
He did.
And now all that's coming to an end. And yes, to him, the silver lining in this whole situation is finally I get to meet, my other brothers and sisters, because he came clean. Yes, pretty crappy way of doing it, right? Because now, like you said, no accountability. Like, I'm dying from pancreatic cancer. By the way, I have other children.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to meet them?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of softening up that blow.
I understand you 100%.
That's what I think is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And I understand why you're upset.
Yeah. 100%.
And I feel like you have every right to be upset because of that. Because it is a very cowardly move.
Yeah. That's how I sum it up.
I understand that, but I also understand where Chris is coming from.
Yeah, I think both can be right. I think Chris can feel
you know what I'm saying?
how he feels. And I think Mikhail can also feel how he feels.
But I don't think Chris takes anything away from Mikhail.
No, not at all.
For wanting to still, be... kind of take that opportunity and meet, his other family at the same time. You guys are different people.
Yeah.
Although you guys are brother, you guys
100%.
have different views on life and, different opinions. And you guys are absolutely entitled to your own opinions and thoughts. And so, but yeah, man, I don't think... I get how naturally you'd be upset because, like, how can you, like, really love this man? Or how can you really, like, forgive him or be so lenient on him and give him an out?
Easily
you know
look past that?
When he didn't want you.
Right.
Because that's how you view it.
That is, yeah.
That's how you view it. Those are your feelings, but...
Yeah. I don't take necessarily, like, offense to anything. I just, I see him hurting and... I'm trying to kind of like point out, like, you shouldn't be hurting like that for this. And, I know he can't help it. Totally fine. But, he
is.
No, yeah, he is,
And,
I know deep down he's very sad. He admitted, he's been like, he's been crying on and off about it. He's been, all over the place emotionally about it. You know what I mean? Like he hoped this would turn out differently, and he's never gonna get that chance to
have a relationship with his father.
At least not the way he was hoping. Yeah. I pointed out, silver lining. We did mention, or at least I'll mention he went to go visit him. Okay. And he met the wife for the first time. I guess there was a couple friends there visiting him.
Is she white?
No.
Asian, I think. Asian.
She's like Filipino.
Wow.
Yeah, and another sidebar, something that's really upsetting about it was he's in San Diego all the time.
He's at Grossmont Hospital.
Every weekend he's here in San Diego doing something. You know what I mean?
Opportunities.
How many opportunities did he miss to hang out, to get to know me or Chris? My family, we and his family. Maybe he might in the end unite, bridge that, but he's never going to be able to see it now. And we're never going to be able to see that with him. So it's kind of like...
But you are...
It's shitty.
Too little, too late.
Right.
Yeah, it's shitty.
And you are
it's
willing to
thing.
Meet your family, your extended family.
What happened?
You are willing to meet them if...
To an extent. I don't know, I'm still gathering my whole feelings on it, and I'm still, trying to figure out, like, what do I want long term when it comes to something like that? Just because that's such a heavy thing. You know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know, like it's a hard thing to kind of like get comfortable with the idea with when it was something that was never my idea.
I think it was really big of you, and I think it took a lot from you to give him the benefit of the doubt when you finally met him and you guys went out to dinner.
Yeah.
You allowed him to be himself.
And
he showed you who he is.
Right.
You gave him, like I said earlier, you threw a lifeline. You gave him an opening.
Very direct.
You were very willing and you were very receptive to whatever he wanted to continue after that dinner. You know, and like you said, the ball is in your court. I am more than open to the idea of you coming around, getting to know your grandsons, getting to know us. But as long as it's, you know,
I wanted to see it.
You wanted to see the effort.
Yeah, I just wanted to see it.
And after 30 something years, I don't think some people would be that open to having their biological father come around and be a part of their family, but you gave him that opening, and the fact that he didn't take it, I can only assume just kind of angered you more.
Yeah.
You know, and now you're at the point where like, you son of a bitch, you're dying now, and what now?
Now you want to tell the world about me. Now you want to tell people about us.
And the fact is, you do it when you're going to die. You're doing it only. I'm translating in my head. You're only doing it because you're dying. You would have never done it any other way.
Yeah.
Right. So how is that okay for me and Chris to be like introduced to the family in this way? Like, to me, it comes off super ingenuine.
Right.
And like I was telling her yesterday, like, this is such a failure on, like, to me, just adulting in general. Shit is hard. In life, especially, like, you know, as parents or whatever, we have to deal with so many hard things.
Yeah.
And what I could only imagine, like, if that's how he deals with like hard shit in his life, is to just like avoid it, pretend like it doesn't exist, never hold yourself accountable, live with yourself up until the point that you have cancer, to say something like this. I could only imagine the kind of dad he was anyway.
Right.
Probably wasn't something that was going to benefit me in the long term as it is, because I don't respect that. You know what I mean? Like, we've said it before, you know, like, being a good dad is a great sign of a good person. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that, you know, we've all related to, and that was something we all have made it a point to be really good at, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, for mine to be like such a failure in this way, you know, it sucks, you know? And I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I ever want to meet that side of my family. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but, you know,
I think a part of you is worried that you might be disappointed with them.
Maybe.
Just like you were with him.
Maybe.
I don't
they
think
could
that
be completely opposite of him.
They might be.
Yeah.
They might be. I just don't know if I'm ready to accept that.
Right.
You know? And you know, part of this whole timeline, you know, my mom reached out and she tried to convince me to go and see him, and, you know, I was pretty adamant, like, I really don't want to go. Like, this wasn't something I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now, because Chris is gonna put himself into this, I don't necessarily feel like I'm obligated to put myself into it. I never asked for this, and I don't feel like I need to be there for something that's gonna potentially upset me further. I don't want to be around death. I don't want to be around death of a person that I lost so much time with.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I just don't want to have to get to that place mentally and accept that, or come to, you know what I mean? It's just such a heavy thing to try to throw on someone and then just like show up for that. I couldn't get myself to do that. So, you know, I told my little brother, hey, bro, I just can't go. And he was totally understanding. You know, this was more for him than anything. He obviously wants me to be there. And he thanked me for even being open to like hearing him out and like letting him vent to me about it, since we share this experience, you know, just us two. You know, he, you know, just more for backstory. My mom and, you know, my dad, Jesse, they met while working at Thousand Trails, heading towards Julian. and he had an affair on and off. My mom just comes out. She made the decision to remove herself from being around him. And that's tough. I forgive her. Also not fair. But I get it. We're adults. We don't know what we don't know. She had no idea, what effects could happen long term, but she basically, she basically said she didn't want him to be involved in something that could potentially hurt, the marriage that he's in.
Yeah, what seemed fair for one family was really unfair for another.
Right. So she made that decision to move. And it's shitty. I get she was trying to protect her family or herself, but also him. But it's one of those things where the kids are there to kind of figure it out. You just don't know any long-term effects that may have on people.
She was doing what she thought was right.
Yeah, oh man, I kind of figured, I assumed that, if he was already married with kids, some that are older than me, and she happened to move, and obviously if you wanted that person around, you're going to let them know, like, hey, I'm moving here, just so you know, you can come visit them here. Well, obviously, like, there had to have been some friction. He's there one day, next day he's not. So it's kind of like, I kind of figured, but actually hearing it, it's kind of like, oh, fuck, it's like that's how it actually played out. Yeah. But yeah, so I guess I find myself a little bit guilty that I don't feel bad about him passing away,
But you don't have to.
I know I don't, but like it just is one of those things where it's just like, I don't, they mentioned that I might regret it one day by not going to go visit him or say anything last minute things to him. I don't know if I necessarily have anything last minute I have to say to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably don't.
I don't. I really don't.
And if you did, is it like, would it be like good things to say? You know what I mean? Like,
it honestly wouldn't,
right. And is that going to be conducive to this man on his deathbed? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's two sides of it for sure. And I think that for him to put this on, essentially on you guys now, because he's only got a couple weeks, and now it's dependent on you guys to do the heavy lifting of like
mending, whatever.
Yeah. Like, what did it, so and I think you're allowed to feel however you want to feel. And I think that if you don't want to go, you don't owe anybody any explanation.
Right.
Yeah,
bro, I don't think I think your thought process along this I've agreed with all of it so far.
I mean, I almost feel like it would be like, what's shittier, like a dad who did drugs and wasn't ever around, or a dad who knew you were there and was supposedly a good dad to his other kids, like, which is worse? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Just try to process everything and try to try to see long term, like what would probably make the most sense to do. And right now it's pretty easy to say, like, I don't necessarily know if I want to get that side of the family, but in all realization, if everything goes well and they do, obviously I'm sure my little brother will be in there first, meeting someone. If it all goes well, would it be the right thing for me to close myself off to people that had nothing to really do with the situation? I don't know if that's necessarily fair.
Right.
If they genuinely want to get to know me.
But you grew up, like you said, pretty isolated. You weren't necessarily like taught to be like emotionally intelligent. It's
Sure.
not like you guys were like having kumbaya talks, in your household or whatever. But like you learned how to deal with things on your own,
Right.
without anybody else's like kind of, it'll be okay, like.
Right.
So I think that's okay, because we all handle things differently. And if you want to handle it alone, essentially, and not put yourself in that situation, then that's up to you.
Look, I understand and I believe your reservations are valid. I really do.
Yeah.
I can't say I necessarily agree with how you're thinking about, dealing with the situation. And this is just my personal opinion. Because I feel like at the end of the day, you're still going to be around and he's not, right? So he's going to pass on. He has nothing to carry with him anymore on his conscience or guilt. I think the fact that you feel some sort of guilt for maybe being this disconnected from the situation and not allowing yourself to feel any kind of remorse or feel bad for him is a sign that there is something there in your heart telling you you should probably more so go to get closure for you, not for him. Not that, I don't know if you feel like you may need some closure, but just seeing how emotional you got right there, that to me is a clear indication that there is something that you're still holding on to that you may need to,
and by
you may need to address for you, even if you have to tell the man, hey, F you for what you did.
Right. Even if you got to walk in there and just big middle finger, like.
Right.
Although, and I think obviously, like,
I think,
once you get that off your chest or you just unload, because I feel like you're carrying this heavy burden, man. And I feel like you're carrying it for both you and Chris. You are the older brother. You were the one that maybe subconsciously felt like you needed to be the tougher one, the more emotionally mature one.
Yeah.
And not let yourself feel this because we don't need it. I got to be here for my brother. I got to be strong for my brother. And Chris being the younger brother, he's just more like, I love my big brother, but I also wondered what if.
Yeah.
I also wondered what if my entire life. And now that what if is a reality. And it's not a what if anymore. It's a when. When and where. And yes, whatever. Because in that message, I wasn't sure what Chris was referring to in the part where he said, because I wasn't going to come to you if he didn't. Like, I wasn't sure if he meant like Chris knew about the pancreatic cancer before, or he was talking about the secret?
He didn't know about the pancreatic cancer, but because Chris has like been trying to get involved, he has a need to get in touch with his Black family.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something he wants to like learn and understand about, especially medically. Like Chris is very concerned about his health and what could be
and
genetic,
not knowing that he's dealing with pancreatic cancer,
right? Yeah. So I don't remember where I was going with that, but
Look,
I
don't want to like do the thing where I put my relation to it to take away from what you're saying, but I feel like I kind of can relate.
Mm-hmm.
I met my birth mom at 17.
Mm-hmm.
She chose drugs over me,
Mm-hmm.
so it's always gonna be fuck you for me. I don't care. We have met. I don't have a relationship with her. If I was to find out she's dying, I see her at Christmas every year because I go to my grandma's, and I have a relationship with that side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a relationship with my grandma, but I already knew my grandma prior to me finding out because she was the attendance lady at the high school.
Right.
That goes into like my whole backstory. But like when I met my birth mom, like when I went through that, I met you, it was cool. You still were doing the same shit that caused you to lose me.
Right.
So it'll always be fuck you to me.
Right.
I don't hate you. I don't have a relationship with you. So if I find out that she's gonna die, something like that, I don't feel like I want to go say goodbye. I don't need. I have no relationship with you. You want to have a relationship by now. Like I don't know, and maybe I'm just unhealed. Maybe we are both unhealed, and we don't know how to manage that. But I'm agreeing with your.
I think the part that got me emotional, I think, was just my mom's role in this.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
And like the hard work that your mom put into raising you guys, and like really,
no, she did great. All that was great. The part that just hurts is the making the choice for us to remove him from us, and that's to me what was like fuck. That's the shit that was just like fuck.
Yeah, you got taken that opportunity from you,
right?
without you having any kind of say in it,
right? And the whole time I put the blame on him.
Yeah, because maybe he could have been a good dad. Maybe he could have, right? But
just finding out, she has a role in it. Obviously, I'm not, I don't necessarily I'm not upset at her or anything, but it's sad. It sucks that was taken away without any. I guess how was she supposed
foresight.
to know? How would she know? She was making what was best for her. But I think that's because I think I'm more, I met you. I don't really have a connection with you enough to feel so compelled to be sad about what's going on.
Yeah,
the fact that he's dying.
Yeah,
it sucks
I get that.
in the sense of anybody
Right.
that I've met or that I know a little bit gets cancer and they die. That sucks. That's sad.
yeah,
But I don't see him necessarily that's my dad. I
Right.
don't see that.
So after
it's more a label than
after hearing Eddie's point, I'm wondering now: are you subconsciously are you avoiding the situation to avoid the emotions that come with it?
that's part of it because
It's easier to just shut off, right?
because if I did go with those emotions my entire life, who knows where I could have been, absent parents, that can lead to a whole bunch of bad things, you know what I mean? Especially for the people that don't know how to handle that. So for me to kind of find a way for me to hold that, keep that to myself, numb myself to that, and carry on with life. That's a survival tactic. That's I carry that with everything I do. I might work extra hard on something because deep down I might know hey, I am worthy of something. I am worth something. You're missing out on this. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe that is, part of what fuels me on certain things. Fuck, But hiding those emotions, I guess, is what I feel like kept me on the right path, I guess, as opposed to like allowing myself to be consumed by them. And
exactly.
But here's the thing, man. You said it right now. You're hiding those emotions, which means they're not completely gone.
Sure.
They are there. So sooner or later, you're gonna have to face those emotions.
I guess my question would be like, what?
To whose benefit?
No, not just that. Like, what really changes by me saying goodbyes or anything? What?
And it's not even saying goodbye. I personally don't believe it's a goodbye from you. Obviously, reality is it technically is a goodbye because he has a time clock that's running down, right? So he has a physical time clock that's running down that is technically a goodbye, but I think it's more so closure for you. You've had these emotions, you've had these feelings, and like you said, you've been hiding them for your entire life so they don't consume you and they don't take over any decisions you've made, and you don't make any decision in life based off those emotions. But at the end of the day, they're still there.
Sure.
If you would have said, I've never had these feelings, they're just, I've never had them. They've never been there. So how can I miss something I don't have? You're not saying that. You're saying I've hid these emotions, so they don't affect me.
Well, right.
And I feel like there's only so much suppressing you can do.
Yeah.
There's only so much hiding you can do for so long. Like I said, I feel like sooner or later, you will have to face these emotions.
Maybe. Yeah.
Who knows? Elias and Juju can grow up and then ask you about their grandpa. They can ask you what happened to him. Why didn't you say bye?
Right.
Genuine questions, bro, that these kids are gonna ask you, bro, because they're curious and these are valid questions, and you might not feel the same then than you do now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What people have been telling you about, you might regret this later, I believe that to be 100% true. You might. I'm not saying you will regret this, but you might. There is a possibility that at 45 and not 35, you might feel differently.
Maybe.
At 55, you'll have grown sons with maybe their own families. And looking back at everything, I don't know. You could regret it. You could regret it and be like, man, I probably should have gone.
There's no questions that you would want to ask him, or like.
I don't think so. I mean, all this,
You would want to ask him like, bro, why didn't you take the opening I gave you?
Well, my little brother asked that. And he pretty much just like,
bullshit answer.
There was no real answer. Like, it was just kind of like, what was it? It was something along the lines of, fuck, what did Chris say? It was just something along the lines of, I didn't know if you guys, wanted me, around or needed me or anything. It was just very like a nonchalant, like.
The man sounds very confused.
Of course he is. I mean,
the man sounds very confused and very unsure and insecure of whatever decision he should have or could have made.
I mean, I know I had cancer and I was dealing with that and I didn't tell anybody. You know what I mean? And so if his dad was finding this out around the time that they were trying to contact him.
No, this was last September, or no, this January he found out.
Oh, that's it.
He found out this January, and then last September he found out. I guess he was diabetic, type 2, and then he started feeling, his health started tanking, and then eventually they pinpointed the fact that pancreatic cancer with X amount of time left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. It wasn't something that I'm sure he was expecting.
Right.
That he knew about that long.
Then never mind. There goes my point. You just proved it wrong.
Can I encourage you to do something? I don't have the answers. We all don't have the answers. If I can encourage you in anything, son, is pray on it. Mm-hmm. I honestly and wholeheartedly believe that the only one that has the answer for you and that can nudge you in the right direction is God and the Holy Spirit. And I feel like if you just have an honest conversation with him and just ask him to just give you some clarity,
really think about it,
and give you some guidance, and ask for a sign if you need to. On what it is you should do, I wholeheartedly believe he will give it to you. Because again, just the fact that you have some sort of guilt feeling, the emotions you have about this, to me, it's a clear indication, like I said earlier, that there is something there. That although you've been very, very good at hiding the last 35 years of your life, it's still there.
Sure.
You know? And whether you need to go there and just unload those feelings so you can stop carrying them, or if there's a question that maybe you really need to think about and ask him, I'm not sure how much value that conversation is going to have, but I personally believe that after that, there is absolutely nothing else you can do because this time is running out. Just knowing that you were the bigger man by making the effort that he couldn't make or he chose not to make, you made. And being the bigger man by doing that and leaving nothing on the table. Leaving nothing on the table, just laying it all out and just getting that burden off you, man. Because it might feel light now. It might been, you might have effortlessly hit it for all these years. But man, those burdens can get heavy. Over time.
Right.
And I'm just saying, something to think about, something your kids might ask you 10, 15, 20 years from now. But yeah, man, if you're unsure about it now, but there is something kind of like poking or pulling on your heartstrings a little bit, no matter how lightly it might feel, but just the fact that there's something there, I say pray on it. And just see what, if God puts it in your heart to want to go and make that effort and see him, then great. But if not, then you can leave it be.
Fair.
But I'd encourage you, man, just to pray on it. I encourage everyone to whatever doubt, whatever uncertainty they may be feeling, just pray on it, man. Honestly, you pray, you believe, and then you receive.
Right.
I see your point. I see what you're saying, and it's hard, man.
Right.
You gave him an opportunity to show you who he is.
Right.
He's not a different person. He's just dying now.
That's how I kind of feel about
You're
that.
still a piece. If you were a piece of shit then, before cancer, now that you got cancer, and now that you told everybody about me, I'm supposed to look at you different. And then if you do go talk to him, what are you gonna? If you unload all those emotions, you're gonna go yell at a guy who's dying. That's how I would. That's how I would feel.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at.
Right. Like
the hard part is me. It's the unknown in the future, And that's the only part of the equation that's making me feel not 100%. I'm pretty much in line with how you're talking about it.
Yeah.
That's basically how I feel about it. I just have that. Well, like, should I be feeling more bad than what I feel? And I someone's dying, and he's technically my biological.
But
dad.
like, what's the there's no bridge to burn because there was never a bridge built, kind of thing.
And I don't have any questions. Like I feel like my questions have been answered through inaction.
That's how.
Let me.
I feel like
hold on. Let me be very clear on something. Everything I'm encouraging you to do, is not for him.
For sure. No, yeah.
No,
it's not. It's not for him.
For sure. I get what
it's 100% for you.
Yeah, so you can get clarity.
The possibility of how you may be, how you may feel about this 15, 20 years from now is thinking about you.
Future me.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Unloading whatever it is you may need to unload on him. Yes, I get it. You know, it's kind of silly or ridiculous to think that you're going to go up there and yell at a dying man. But bro, if that's what needs to happen, you have absolutely nothing to lose,
right,
and everything to gain, by just unloading, and just sharing whatever it's on your heart with him. And again, and I can't stress this enough, it's not for him, it's for you.
Right.
You know, so I would say selfishly go up there and get some closure for yourself. Get some answers, get some closure,
it's kind of like
do it for you.
Yeah,
he already got closure. He showed him who he is. The closure was by you not. You decided not to be in my life. I gave you the opportunity. I told you what to do. But if you want to be in my life, here's all you got to do.
But there isn't closure because it's still messing with him.
I don't think it's messing. I think what's messing. I think what got Mikhail emotional was talking about how his mom's rolling it.
Right, and not getting that opportunity and having that decision being.
How did you find that out?
I just got a text while we were recording.
From who?
From Chris.
Maybe if my birth mom was I was to find out she was dying, I gave you opportunities to be. Actually, I don't know if I did. You showed me you're still doing the same shit you were doing that caused you to lose me. Right. Another kid. And then you're still doing the same thing, and now that you got your life together, you want to be involved in my life, or no?
Right.
Fuck you. Like that pain of feeling like it's abandonment. You abandoned me. I wasn't good enough for you.
Right.
Yeah, so why do I got to be?
But like, here's the thing, man. You're dealing with that, not her. You're dealing with that.
But
it still makes you feel some type of way about it because it's just the way you speak about it.
I have nothing good to say about her,
and you know what?
Book is closed. It's
and you know what? And you may never have to have a relationship with her. Yeah. That's valid. But I honestly feel like you do also have feelings and emotions towards her.
So if you want to, I don't know if you want to
say it, but I'll go off.
That I don't know, man. You may need to work out. You may need to let go as well.
Show Eddie.
You know, it's valid.
Do you want me to read it?
You feel like you don't want a relationship with her. I get it. Yeah. But if you did, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either.
Right. And I don't know necessarily.
And you guys are hurt. I believe me. I get it. You guys are hurt. And again, man, it just, you guys have seen the transformation in me, right? Mm-hmm. You guys can all agree that there is something different about me now, right? Mm-hmm. I can't carry these burdens by myself. Mm-hmm. I honestly can't. I'm not meant to carry them by myself. My faith tells me to leave it all at the feet of the cross. Mm-hmm. All my worries, doubts, insecurities, everything, just leave it at the feet of the cross. And although I don't always do that, and I have to pray on it over and over and over again, eventually that is the solution to a lot of the stuff that I've carried before and that I carry now. And I have to remind myself to just let it, just give it to God. That's just me personally, right? That's just where I'm coming from.
And it worked for you.
And that's what I'm saying. It worked for me. I am a testimony of what God can do for you. And I encourage you guys to pray on it. You may be dealing with that with therapy, and that's great. That's great, and that's a start. You are ultimately dealing with it some way. So there is stuff there, and I don't know, all this stuff that you're going to therapy for could be all rooted to how you feel about her. Could be all rooted to your anger, your
inability to accept love
that you have.
Like, yeah, I mean, I've figured that out through therapy already.
Right.
It's all rooted in that.
Like,
but
I'm gonna read this now.
I guess not to.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, my bad. I was in the react.
No, it's fine. But I guess I appreciate everybody's honest thoughts and opinion to help me out with it. I don't know where I honestly land on it still. I if I had to guess, I'm probably not going to go and do anything about it and deal with the consequences later. I've made it this far without it. I have not been able to identify or see how that would benefit me by going. Maybe that changes, and I'll definitely let you guys know if what happens.
The benefit, I think, of this is that you and I have learned that both of us were very isolated and weren't very we were alone a lot. And so we've learned in the last week that we don't ever have to be alone again because we have each other. So I'm grateful that you're not like your dad, for selfish reasons, I'm sure, but you're doing a great job. So
thank you.
You're not, you're doing a great job of, being the opposite, and not only being the opposite, but being like super involved and, making sure that you're raising good people. And so,
well, shit.
Great job.
Ultimately, bro, whatever you decide to do, I support you.
Yeah.
It's a tough decision.
Of course. Yeah.
100%.
It's a tough decision. Yeah.
100%. Man. Whatever you do, this is your situation. This is your walk right now. But just know that whenever you need it, you can lean on us.
For sure.
Right.
And we are definitely here, man.
I don't think
hear you out.
I don't think there's a wrong answer.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I'm just, I just want to be.
There's definitely no right or wrong way to go about this. It's just whatever's on your heart.
Worrying about future Mikhail, making sure that present Mikhail makes good decisions for future Mikhail.
Yeah. Right.
Part of that, before I get too segued, because I don't want to just dwell on this
forever.
Yeah. This has kind of opened my eyes to make sure that I take my health serious. I would love to invite, you and Rick, and honestly, any of us to maybe have a fun, maybe we can do like some sort of challenge, like weight wise, something that we can maybe get our gears.
I thought you want to get our prostates checked.
Competitive juices going with it. If there's going to be someone checking in on everyone and wanting to push them.
This is definitely gonna have to be like an honor system because
we'll check in. Check in with each other.
It's been on my mind a lot lately.
Me and you can for sure. We can go as far as weighing ourselves and posting it because we know that's going to be holding ourselves accountable. We don't want to look bad in front of people. So if you're comfortable with it, I would love it. I'm sure Sal's down with it. I definitely invite you to do it, and if Ricky's able to, I definitely want him to do it with us. Babe, if you want to do it.
No, we all know that you don't want me to lose any weight, so
I don't. But for yourself, if you did, I'm
definitely with
but
that.
I would
I'm on board with that.
I would love for us to get together and have that on the side. That every time we're getting together, we're checking in. Maybe we're sending each other videos.
I mean, I'd love to do
ourselves.
like like a weekly family dinner. Like that would be cool. That's always something that I would dreamed of doing. But
like a 60-day challenge. Let's just do 60 days.
Let's get ready for summer or something, like
a 60-day challenge.
Maybe winter maybe there could be some sort of either monetary value or a prize or something. We'll iron that out.
I want your Jordans.
This is a on wax.
You wear a size 13?
Yes.
An on wax challenge to the guys or to the group. Let's get healthier for future selves. I want present Mikhail to make good choices for future Mikhail, and I
just want to be there. I just want to be there for my kid.
Yeah,
I want to be able to be there as he gets older.
And my last thing is, if anybody who hears this has anything to chime in, and maybe you want to offer me any advice that they might feel from that, I would love to hear it, because any information for me is good, and that can help me decide one way or another.
Definitely.
I would love that.
I have no input because I have a plethora of parents to choose from. I'm very lucky in that. And
they're awesome.
Just, I'll back you up no matter which way you go on it. Because
why you're my wife.
Yeah, shout out your mom. Okay. She knows Kendrick Lamar is a household name.
Before we wrap up, and I'm sorry, this is, I guess, it's a little bit long. So I won't get through it, I guess, quick, but I want you guys to have fun with it. We have two questions sent in,
directed to you.
One of them is to Adrian. I'll read that when we get there. But I have two questions for the.
Why
the
did
group.
you leave that night?
For the group.
Let him get through.
Maybe it wasn't him. Who knows?
No, this time it wasn't me.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Who knows? So thank you guys for submitting these questions. Every so often, we gather these questions and go over it on the podcast, so you guys can hopefully get to know us a little bit better. Or if you guys want any help, advice, obviously, like you guys just saw myself, I'm surrounded by a lot of people that have a lot of wisdom, good advice, and definitely are always just willing to help. And
always have your back.
We would love to extend that to the people that support us as well. Mm-hmm. So our first question to the table, the best part of being a parent, or what are you looking forward to when you become a parent? In this case, we're all parents here. Mm-hmm. So
I'm pretty sure they were, expecting Sal to be here.
Yeah,
when they submitted that question.
We can get his answer as soon as we see him.
The lone Chilean.
What would you guys say is the best part, if you guys had to summarize the best part of being a parent? Give a second to simmer on that.
I mean, for me, the best part of being a parent is for sure just you have these two, or for me, I have two little humans that like love me no matter what.
Right.
Even when I'm not at my best,
right.
I got good kids. So
yeah. I'll pile on that. The unconditional love that these guys have, and just being able to, provide a good life, because, it's funny. A lot of these things that I enjoy doing with them is selfishly also for me.
Yeah. Right.
I want to
go to Disneyland.
I take them to Disneyland all the time, and, I love seeing them.
They might grow up hating Disneyland.
They might.
They might grow up and be like, man, we went way too much.
Yeah. Maybe.
Said no kid ever, but, I don't know. They may be the first.
But, I'll buy them an Xbox because I want them to have, fuck yeah. I love that high of, seeing them so happy. Especially while they're young now. You get home from work and they rush the door for you. Yeah. They jump on you.
Every single time. If Mikhail's not home and we're home and Elias sees Mikhail pull up, every single time he goes, "Daddy's home." Yeah. He, them singing because they're so excited to see you.
Right.
That's the best part.
In a nutshell, that something small like that summarizes.
And they're hilarious as hell.
The love that you get. I think just watching them grow.
Yeah.
Just watching, my kid's older. He's 14.
Yeah.
But just seeing the person that he's becoming, seeing that the things that I've tried to install in him as a young kid, like you know, this is who you are. Work harder than everybody. The things that I've told him his whole life. They sound cheesy, but I've tried to get him to feel a certain way about himself.
Yeah.
Install confidence in him, like and to see him
and
be
to
this,
see
like,
them figure it out.
Yeah, like I'm just watching him grow as, especially like now he's in high school and like
developing the person that
into like a little man. It's just so rewarding.
He definitely has a voice for it.
He's got a little, he's got a smoke, he's got a little deep voice.
Pasta.
Killer mustache. Like his mustache is on point.
But
it's just, I'm just so.
You threw the FaceTime on and his was at the ceiling.
Oh yeah. He makes fun of me all the time for being an old man. I can do nothing cool in his eyes anymore.
You're like, huh?
Yeah. I'm not cool to him, but he knows. I don't know. Like, when I picked him up,
like you took him to a Tyler the Creator concert.
I'm an old man. I was the old dad.
You were cool then?
In his eyes, yeah.
We'll always be uncool.
But which is crazy. I mean, we're in the phase right now where our kids think that we're the coolest thing ever.
Right. I used to be the coolest person ever.
Right.
Now that he's older, which I get, he's 14.
Right.
But like recently, like I just picked him up on a Wednesday. I picked him up from Charlie from school, and he was like, "Dad, I really missed you," and I was like. That's cool. I was like, what? And I kind of got like a little like,
oh, you love me?
And he's like, I really missed you. I was like, why? And he's like, because you're like the person I talk to about everything.
Aww. Right. Yeah. That's
he's like, I have so much I want to tell you about like what's happened. And I teeter that line of like, I want to be his friend, but I'm also his father.
Sure.
But I just want him to feel comfortable to talk to me about everything. Right. And that's like a line that I've always tried to balance. Like, I want you to feel comfortable to talk to me about anything and everything, but also you're not gonna tell me to shut up. Like, you're not gonna like we're friends, but not really. I'm your father.
There's
like,
still that
like you're not gonna. So
for sure.
I mean, the best part is I would say just watching them grow.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Definitely just watching them grow. Even my goddaughters. My favorite.
It's crazy. They start out as like a blob, just like a little blob of a baby, and then they grow up and they start talking and they have personalities and they make choices and they, like it's so wild.
Like, I got to see my goddaughter Ilara recently when she was here. Like, oh my god, she's just growing up. She looks so different. Every time I see Marilena, she's like we're having weird like. Conversations
every day is something different.
Like you're like a little human, or like you're like a person already. Like it's just so cool, and like I don't know, just the love that you feel back from them.
Yeah, and the way her face lights up anytime, like you're on FaceTime and she gets to say hi to you. It's great. I would say the best thing about being a parent is just being present. Just being there for every milestone, every moment.
Being able to be involved, having that's like a privilege that people don't understand. Like
take for granted.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, just being there. Just being there for the highs and the lows and everything. Obviously with the situation with Santiago is probably one of his lowest moments.
Yeah, but that's a part of it though.
But being there, being present. Also being there on Monday for his award, just seeing Marilena's face, knowing that her parents are in the crowd, not just mom or dad, but both parents in the crowd. Yeah, man, just being present is probably like the most rewarding thing as a parent for me. So yeah, just being there for every memorable moment.
That's dope
in their lives. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well said, everybody. Next one and our last one. We're gonna end this on a high note because it sounds like there's a lot going on in this. Are you sure this wasn't you, or this is someone you know?
I don't know. Read it. I don't.
This might be from him. I don't know. These are anonymous.
Are these questions from like when they were submitted way back when, or
no,
recently?
This is recent. This is recent.
Definitely.
This is anonymous. This is anonymous. Everyone.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's no name.
That's anonymous.
There's no name. Okay, and it's addressed to Penguin. Penguin.
Oh, they refer to you as Penguin.
So this is someone you must know.
Asked? Huh? When was this asked?
This week.
sometime
this week. Okay,
a day or two ago.
It's addressed as Penguin
When I posted it was maybe Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
To Penguin, senior year, Mr. Barry's class.
Oh my God.
Was it you or Cakes that stapled in the hand by? Okay, this is written a little funky, but maybe
That was the
That was Rick. No, it was Rick.
maybe that was stapled in the hand by Fat Rick during our staple war in class. Also, side note.
That could be Brad too, because
where's-
Brad
Could
was
be Brad.
part of that.
It could be
Ted.
Brad.
Ted
Where's
was in
my
that class.
Charizard candle, you sexy son of a bitch? I'm gonna triangle choke you if I don't get it.
Oh, that's Ted.
That's Ted.
Ted,
Ted.
okay. Well,
Yeah, that's
so
Ted.
what was the
Fucking
question?
shout out
Was
Ted.
it
Shout out
was it
Ted. I
you,
love you,
Cakes,
bro.
or Rick? Then the answer
Reread the question. What was the question again?
was it you or Cakes that stapled in the hand by Fat Rick during
We got
our
stapled
staple war? So
by Rick.
tell
Yeah.
tell me the story. I don't know what the hell this is about. What is this? Really quick.
Senior year, Barry's class.
Barry was our math teacher.
I had Mr. Barry too.
Yeah,
But I just didn't have it with you guys.
We had a staple war. That was our thing. Like if you were caught slipping, we would open up the stapler and just bow. Staple the back
Smack
of your
someone
head.
with a stapler.
Smack you with the back of the head with a stapler.
Damn,
Open.
you guys are fucking brutal.
Like staple side, like
Yeah,
God.
staple down. Like there was a
Who got their shoulder stapled? That they had literally that thing was like
so
deep in there.
I think the story that he's referring to, it was a time Rick just told the story. It's so
God
funny.
damn, you guys were bad.
We
there was a teacher present during all this. That's the
Right.
crazy
I got
part.
sent to the hallway for talking too much. You guys were over here fucking stapling each other. What
fucking
the
assault.
fuck?
I
it
borrowed
didn't hurt
Ricky's
as
phone.
bad as you.
I mean, I
you know,
guess that's the
as I
difference
think it
between
would.
like going to a brown school versus going to a white school.
Straight up.
I,
Very bad.
so I think the story that he's talking about, there was a time where I borrowed Ricky's phone to call my mom
Yeah.
Oh god.
to get her to be
Your hand
like.
inside.
So I was like, I wanted to call my mom because I forgot what it was. It was some probably
It was Tuesday. She got paid.
probably like, hey, are we gonna go eat or not? So I open the door, the classroom door, right, and I'm standing outside on the phone like this. I have my phone on my other hand,
Inside the
holding,
classroom.
like, prying the door open so it doesn't close all the way. Rick comes out of nowhere. He's inside the class, opens the stapler. In the middle of class, Barry's trying to teach something, and Rick just staples my hand
While you had the door open.
while because my hand was exposed.
Yeah,
So I'm like
exactly.
outside on the phone
While
talking
you were
to my
slipping,
mom.
you were caught slipping.
I got caught slipping. I was on the phone talking to my mom, and then all of a sudden, what the fuck was it? Like, I fucking got stapled.
You had a
in my hand.
staple in your
I had
hand.
a staple in my hand.
In your hand. All
yeah.
the way.
But it won't like go in like and fold in, but it just it sticks. Like
yeah,
you got to pull it out.
It sticks.
Yeah.
Oh my
But like
god.
I got stapled on my hand. We did. We used to get shoulders. I don't know if we ever got anybody in the back of the head. We probably did, but definitely.
Yeah,
we
but
got-
it was Rick, Adrian, Brad,
Yeah,
myself,
yeah.
and I'd go to that class because I think first semester senior year I didn't have Mr. Barry.
No, you were
It
just
wasn't
there.
until second semester I got Mr. Barry as a math teacher.
Yeah.
which I was like yes.
Same.
But he would let me
Same, yeah.
stay there.
Barry
He would
would
let me
laugh.
stay there
Yeah, he wouldn't care.
and kind
Give a
of
shit
ditch
about
whatever
anything.
whatever class I was supposed to be in, as long as I stayed quiet and in the back of the class. Like he didn't care.
He was like a cool teacher.
Remember
was
when you
definitely a
chased
cool
me
teacher.
from Mr. Barry's class to my art class?
You fucking slid like Fernando Tatis Jr. in the class because
Adrian chased me from one side of the school to the other one because I don't know what I did to him, but I did it to him in Mr. Barry's class, and I was supposed to be in art class, and so he chased me across the campus, and I ran in.
It's a very slippery
and we
floor.
were working with clay.
Yeah.
We were working with clay, so it was like the dry dust clay or whatever on the floor. So I ran into art class and I slid. I slipped on that dust clay or whatever that was on the floor. I slid. Man, I knocked
never
her
forget
like
that.
the art teacher's desk and everything. I just
Cakes came in
I
like a
came in like a wrecking ball, for sure.
ball.
Shit.
Kool-Aid man through the
Slid,
fucking.
just, and I was like, oh shit.
and then he went back to class.
That's crazy.
Yeah, shout out Barry. I think anybody
Yeah.
that listens to us
Yeah.
knows Mr. Barry.
Mr. Barry
That's
is a
some-
I
real
just
one.
remember
that's some
him telling
great
me,
times in Mr. Barry's class.
or maybe it was just, I just remember him saying, so and so, your test scores are lower than whale shit.
It's probably talking to Rick.
I don't know who he was talking to, but I just remember when I think about him, that's what I remember him.
Mr.
saying.
Barry's class reminds me and Rick going at it.
Go run a lap, fat boy. Yeah. Some shit like that.
Go run a lap, fat ass.
God. A neck brace. And then
I remember that. She farted.
Rick made.
She had that neck brace.
Yeah, she had the neck brace, and then Rick made a
farted.
joke about it. I forgot what he said. He said something about her neck brace.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Go run a lap, fat ass."
But she said that with the neck brace on, and
when did she fart?
I think she bent over for something and she farted.
Oh, not during this exchange.
I don't think so. Okay. I just remember when I think about she's the girl that farted in class.
And then she got real big into Guitar Hero.
Oh my god.
Oh god. I guess on that note. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in for this week's episode 10. A lot of emotions during this episode, but I appreciate everyone here joining me today to kind of talk all this shit out. And anybody who listens to this, we all appreciate that too. Hopefully you get something out of this. I can probably help you in the future, if not help you now. And those stories that we got with the stapler. Ted, if that's you, thank you for submitting that. That was awesome to hear that story. Yeah. And if anyone else
has more
stories to share that we can kind of like have fun with, please. Those are the things that we're looking for. All right. Well, on that note, we're out. Thank you guys. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Adios.